Welcome to Inspired Design with Barbara Lazara of Inspired Windows. Last we met with Barbara, she redecorated this same set for the fall season and Thanksgiving, and it was really beautiful. It was a very warm, comfortable set, Barbara.
Yes, it was, and it was, you know, again, for Thanksgiving, you think about a heavy meal and inviting people over, entertaining, and I wanted to create a space at that time that would show people how you can set a beautiful buffet table and mix centers and have a beverage center and have a buffet table and then your dinner table.
Well, it was beautiful, and the colors were of the fall. And the leaves were still on the tree at the time.
Yes, they were.
So you can see that, you know.
They were green.
And I have to tell you, I used some of those ideas. You know, the cake plate upside down,
Yes.
and a few other containers upside down to serve off of. What it helped me to do is maximize a minimum space. So I just had a small folding table. But I had like 42 desserts, and it was a great place to put all the desserts.
And I bet it looked beautiful.
It did, because
it was interesting.
It was interesting, but it also gave me the room to put all the different desserts out. You know, because you had the high and the low, so you maximized the space. So that was a wonderful idea. And then I would have never thought, because it was just a small group
Gathering.
of us, and we didn't have a buffet table, but I did have a beverage table. Because instead of just putting the soft drinks and the water on a counter, I put them on a table with a tablecloth, and it made a statement, and everybody could help themselves, and it was one less thing.
And they were able to congregate around another area rather than being in the kitchen where all the work is going on.
It was perfect. It kind of semi-moved them out of the kitchen, you know, which was great. So I had some room to kind of move. So those were great ideas.
I'm glad you got to use them.
Well, that's why you're here. You're here to give us ideas.
That's right.
But now fall is over, and it's winter, and it's the Christmas season. And Barbara came in and she redecorated our whole set, the same set, and redecorated for the Christmas season, which is a little more comfortable, cozy conversations.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially for the Christmas season. The Christmas season, you know, you congregate around a fireplace, and you just want to bring in the coziness, you want to bring in the music, and just get all your senses flowing with the smell of the trees, the smell of the outside. You know, it's just a different feeling, winter time, and then bring it in along with the Christmas season. Well,
and then one of the things you said, you introduced the whimsical feeling, which you really did. I mean, it sparkles, Christmas is a time when you do believe. Everybody wants to believe in Santa Claus or whatever, you know. But it's a whimsical time, and you did bring that theme in.
Yeah, I did. I actually, there was a lot to consider. I consider a lot when I'm starting to design a project. And I looked at the overall space. In this space particular, I had to talk to the cameraman and see what was the viewing area, what would maximize the space. I also had an idea. Angelo presented me with a picture that he said he would like to use.
And
that was the Santa Claus picture that we used. And Don came in and said he loved the Currier and Ives look. So I had to consider all that. Originally, I was going to use big wreaths on the window, but then they hid the look of the church steeple and the fallen snow that's going to happen. And so there's a lot to consider in design.
So
you know,
take
rather than just picking colors.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Where do you start? How do you start? And you kind of alluded to that, because Angela brought out a picture. Don, our community relations director, said he would like to use the Currier and Ives scene and the church steeple in the background. So is that where you start?
That's where I start. And then I had to, what brought into the whimsy was, of course, the picture motivated it. I looked through all your Christmas ornaments and things around, and I noticed you were using the chartreuse green and the red. And that's not your typical colors that you would use at Christmas time. And I said, we're going to do whimsy. I want a whimsy look. So with that, I kind of thought outside the box, used some elements that you would just find around your house any time of year.
Well, actually, what you see here is a collection of things that we've had here.
Yes.
At the village, in the storeroom, in boxes, and what we did is we just brought them all out and said, Barbara, this is what we've got.
That's
what
right.
can you do with this? And believe me, some of it hasn't been used in years, and then you kind of got creative.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. If you lay everything out, now it's just a matter of putting it all back together.
And
and creating, right, and creating a centerpiece such as we did here, or creating a swag such as we did here, or the teardrops, or even, I mean, we've been using this vase throughout every set. We just keep changing it up for every season.
So it's the same vase, you just
It's
keep
the
changing.
same vase.
You've repurposed so many
Yes.
things, because I'm looking around and so much of this has been sitting around in a box. Oh, we used it 5 years ago. Oh, we used it 2
Yeah.
years ago. And okay, we don't need it anymore. You put it away. And I think we all tend to maybe run out and buy something new.
Well, sometimes actually, though, you need to get something new to inspire you in a direction. So that's not always bad, but it's not necessary either. Because if you just lay everything out, if you keep things the way you've always done them and store them like perfectly, then you're not going to be motivated. But if you spread things out, look and see what you have, and then start grouping things, you can kind of get a change up of what you've already done and use the same things throughout the year, throughout the season, year after year.
And you know, and that's really, I mean, that's really strange you should say that, because these chairs have been around for a very long time. I don't think we've ever used them on the set, yet look at how nice they look.
Oh, I wanted that feeling.
They're perfect.
And the color is you couldn't get a more perfect color for this time of year. But doesn't this say, come and look, come and, you know, come sit down, let's have a cup of, you know, coffee or a cup of hot cocoa and enjoy the fire.
Warm and comfortable,
Yeah,
and
cozy.
relaxing and cozy.
And you know what, it motivates you to invite people over. It does motivate you. You know, during the year you're so busy, even at Christmas time you're so busy. But you have to stop and smell the roses at some point.
Or in this case, stop and smell the pine and the honeycombs.
That's right, you do.
know.
You have to stop and take a break. Enjoy what you have.
No, it really is. The set really has changed its personality, and you've given us 3 vignettes.
Yes,
we
I
have
have.
3 vignettes. We have the fireplace, we have the conversation area with the courier and I have seen in the background, and we have the Christmas tree. So you've given us 3 different vignettes in one small area.
And the reason why it works is because I used odd numbers. And in decorating, it's very important to use odd numbers, which I will point out throughout the set as we walk around. But odd numbers actually brings things into a flow, and it just makes everything cohesive, that it's well put together.
And that's unusual, because everybody thinks in terms of pairs sometimes.
Yeah, they
We have 3 chairs on the set.
Yes, we do.
Most often people would say, oh, 2 chairs or 4 chairs.
4 chairs.
And 3 chairs, and it's very comfortable.
And I would think that if you were to add chairs, in my thinking, I would add 2 more chairs, not 1 more chair. I would add 2 more.
2 more.
To give it, you know, again, a continuity.
And it gives it a personality.
It does.
But do you start with, okay, you came up with the ideas by incorporating what people were asking you to do here. Then do you work with a sketch? Do you, I mean, I know then you spread everything out, but you don't just start putting things up or in.
No, I don't. Actually, I do start out with a sketch. I have to put my thoughts on paper and see how that they will work. Again, I was motivated by the colors. I happened to go to a department store, and I saw a big swag hanging off of a drapery rod. And I said, oh, I love this. I'm going to incorporate this. Because my thinking was, before I even thought of that, well, what am I going to do with this window? It's massive. What am I going to do with it? And then I came up with this from the motivation.
Let's talk a little bit more about our cornice over here.
Yes.
Which is, the swag motivated you to this cornice? But it's not a swag, and you know what? I don't know if someone can do this in their own home, because it's hanging. We have photographs of Angelo actually hanging it. It's hanging from the
It's being suspended.
rafters, really.
It's being suspended, and this is it. What again? I saw it in a commercial setting originally, so that's where I thought it would be fitting for here. Could you do it at home on a smaller scale? You could. I have this actually mounted on a closet rod, which you get from your own home. I built part of this at home and part of it on the stage. But what I would do differently to make this residential is I would probably take garland and wrap the corners, frame out the window on the corners, and then maybe put the big bowl with some greenery in the middle and kind of frame out the window and make it lighter.
But see, they couldn't suspend that from a ceiling because you ruin your ceiling because you don't want to do that.
You don't want to
put
right. You don't,
yeah, you don't want to put holes in the ceiling. But could you possibly attach some of these things to an existing cornice?
Yes, you can get stainless steel straight pins. I'm giving you a little trade secret here. If you put them in on an angle, they're very strong and they hold a lot. So if you did have a fabric cornice, you actually could put the pins in on an angle, and they have to be the stainless steel strong ones.
So they hold.
And they will hold, and you take your greenery and you could wrap it around, because all the branches even from a garland has sticking out branches that you can just wind around.
And a stainless steel pin isn't going to damage the fabric your cornice is made, unless you have a leather cornice, then it's different, But
you do have to consider everything.
Yeah, but you can do that just in the corners and in the center without having the weight of the
right,
closet
you won't have
rod.
the weight then, and you're distributing the weight because you're having a center and also two ends. So you're distributing the weight. So you could do something like this. For this setting, what I wanted, again, I wanted the scenery in the background not to be obstructive, but I wanted color. I wanted color in this area.
And it will eventually snow. I know when we had the fall show, we were hoping that the leaves would be on the trees and it was gone. And then now we're hoping for snow and it didn't snow yet. But you know what? You know it's coming. Now let's talk a little bit about the Christmas tree and the two teardrop decors that you're hanging on the door.
The Christmas tree is beautiful. Actually, my sister Carol did it with direction. She actually put the tree together for me because I had so many elements to do, and she did a beautiful job.
It is beautiful, and it's not a big tree.
No, I want to say for the size of the tree, we bulked it up. We bulked it up by putting floral piece on top rather than your star or your angel. I wanted to bring more height and more width.
Because it's only a 5-foot tree.
And it doesn't give you that illusion, does it?
No, not at all.
I also, we put the red mesh, which is very affordable because it goes a long way, around the tree. Again, giving you the appearance that it's a whiter tree. Okay. We put poinsettias. We did not use small. Did you see the poinsettias are nice and big?
And it's large. I was going to say the things you use, and most people, because it's a small tree, would tend toward the smaller ornaments. Here you use things that are actually big.
Yeah, we used big and small ornaments. We did keep it in proportion. You can see that there are small ornaments. For the set, something else I want to bring out is lighting is a big factor, right? Because in your own home setting, you use these string lights that you put around the trees, or the hanging lights, something lights. It's a different setting on a studio. So I wanted to bring in a lot of glitter that reflects light, and you could see everything is very reflective. Versus even the Thanksgiving theme was more of a matted setting because we wanted to give it.
This is a sparkly one.
Yeah, this is sparkly, and we wanted to do a lot of reflection in the lights.
And then you have the two hanging pieces on the door.
Those are tiers.
Not the traditional wreath. I love this.
Well, and originally we had a wreath up there. It just didn't work with the tree. It was just overpowering for the tree. So we had to scale it down. Scale is huge in decorating. I think I talk about every show I'm on. And we scaled it down, and we made a mirror image of each one.
They're facing one another.
Right, they're facing one another. So it adds to it without taking away from the tree. It's like a complement to the tree.
And the vase that we...
And then the vase we use every show.
We use all the time.
Every show, and we just changed it out.
It changes its face many, many times.
And then what did we put at the bottom of the tree? I wanted, again, light reflective. So we used lame fabric around the tree.
And again, it's just fabric.
Right, versus a tree skirt. I think it's more moldable, it's pretty, and we added the Santa, which I think is just a fitting for this area.
And I'm going to tell everybody a little secret that you used because you didn't like the sparse look of the tree.
Right.
She pulled branches off of an other tree that were no longer used and just pulled branches out and shoved them in there and filled it in.
Actually, I did that throughout the whole scene. As we're talking again about the window, those are actually, that's not garland. That is actually a repurposed Christmas tree.
Oh, those are the branches from that same little old tree?
Yes, that's the branches, and on the fireplace and in the sleigh also.
Well, let's go talk about the fireplace right now.
Okay.
And the fireplace is not garland either?
The fireplace are Christmas tree from an artificial Christmas tree, branches, and for me, they were too green. They were too phony looking green. So I spray painted them white, but not solid. I wanted snow-kissed. So I took the whole tree and spray painted it, branch by branch.
Branch by branch, took it outside, spray painted it.
I did. I just snow-kissed it, and now I see how easy it molds, and it's got height, it's got bulk.
And again, a piece of fabric underneath it all.
The piece of fabric, and I'll tell you why I did that. If you put dark on top of dark, it kind of fades it away. I wanted to separate the dark from the dark on the height. Also, if you notice, this Santa Claus picture is dark around it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep bringing it dark and light and dark and light.
And the three-piece, everything is in threes.
Everything is in threes.
Odd
And
numbers.
Large ornaments are 5. Mm-hmm. Up on top, the reds are in 3s. And again, I repeated
And on the floor again, a sleigh that we've had laying around here forever. Yes. It was a floral piece at one time. And,
yes, and it was very easy to make. I made everything around here. But that was very easy to make using branches again. I used branches and filled it in. So branches take you a long way.
You take us a long way. Let's kind of have a seat again and talk about the seating arrangement, because I have to tell you, I love the seating arrangement.
I'm glad.
3 chairs.
3 chairs.
Why can't we use this in our living room all the time? Maybe I'm jumping the gun and talking about another show, but you know, everybody has a sofa in their living room, and you usually only sit 2 people at the sofa, and you're not facing one another. You're not talking.
And that's just it. Most living rooms are set up to gear to watch TV. So everything is like
we all have
based
dens or family
around
rooms now.
A TV, right?
So
where if you, first of all, chairs are movable, so you can use them in different settings, but they're practical. They're practical because you get your own space to sit in. You've got a conversation area. You work in, if you work in odd numbers, like I stress, you know, it just.
It's a parlor.
Yeah, it does.
It's a parlor.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we all have dens and family rooms where the TV is, and you need a sofa in there. Yeah. But in a living room, make it a parlor.
Yeah, dress it up and make it, you know, like a separate area. If you want to watch the football game, then go in your family rooms or go in your dens. But if you want to converse and have a nice, you know, conversation or whatever, I mean, just come in and enjoy it. And
I love the chairs because you can talk. We're talking.
I know.
You know, and we're facing one another.
You're right.
Now, I have to use this tablecloth because this happens to be a tablecloth. So I'm getting ready to serve dinner. Yes. I need the tablecloth.
And that's the nice part about this. I'm going to talk about the tray now. This tray setting, which if you could move it for me, Lucille, that would be wonderful. Right. It will not come apart.
Oh, I'm being careful. It doesn't.
It's not going to come apart.
It doesn't come apart.
I used floral clay. Floral clay to adhere everything. That way, when you do move it, you know, such as a table setting, it will not fall apart on you.
Yet you're not ruining anything because it's floral clay.
And yet you can remove the floral clay, and I'm just going to bunch this up a little.
And they're all. I mean, Santa's moving, but he's not moving off of here. They're all.
Right.
So
and at the end of the season, you can take it off and repurpose the tray for something else.
And I can put this as a centerpiece on my dining room table. And instead of messing up the whole centerpiece when I'm ready to serve dinner, I can just put this right on top.
And we'll straighten out this side a little bit. Yeah, and now you can go ahead.
Oh,
we used runners. We went vertically and horizontally.
And I can use these runners also as placemats on my dining room table by laying them, by putting them in a different direction.
You can put one long one across this way and then have them go horizontal to give them their own placement. And how pretty is this?
And I have my tablecloth for the dining room table. So,
you have your tablecloth back.
What a good idea. But I would have never thought to use floral clay to hold them down, because whenever I entertain, take the centerpiece off, put the centerpiece back, take it, and you mess it up every time.
You do mess it up.
Put it on a tray.
Put it on a tray and adhere it with floral clay. And then when you're done, when you go to put everything again, store everything away, it removes very easy. Kind of like that sticky tack that
but I would have never thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming kind of to the close of this show. I tell you, we think we don't have enough to talk about, and we run out of time almost every time. It's a beautiful Christmas 3 vignettes. But what can we expect for our next meeting?
Well, January is kind of the month that people are kind of in a thunk.
Well, you know what? You take all that beautiful Christmas decoration.
You take all the glitter down.
Blah.
There's
nothing there. It's empty.
Even though November was fine, January is not fine anymore. So we are going to think about, I've got some ideas on color and rearranging furniture and just changing things up very inexpensively, and yet...
That's what I like, inexpensive.
Yeah, inexpensively, and just sprucing. Because now we're settling in for the long winter's nap.
Yes, and it just looks so empty because the house was full through, actually from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas, it was full. And now it's empty, and you have the time. Because you're, as you say, you're kind of hunkered down for the long winter.
Hunkered down. I was just thinking that word too.
So it's it's time to start thinking and bringing things into this room that you're going to be in.
Yeah, just give it new life. A little bit of sprucing up and...
Again, you're good at repurposing.
Yeah, I like to do that.
Yeah,
if we could
Barb repurposes a lot, you know. So I know she's going to probably make us dig into closets and in basements and attics.
Yeah, and take things out of some rooms and add them to others.
See, and that's another thing. Just repurpose it, move it from one room into another.
Yeah, you can. I'll give it new life.
You see, those are just absolutely wonderful ideas.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate Inspired Windows.
Thank you.
And we hope you all join us again on Inspired Design with Barbara Lazzara of Inspired Windows. Barbara, would you give us your contact? So if someone was interested in contacting you as an interior decorator, how would they do that?
Well, you can go on my website, which is inspiredwindows.net, or you can call me at 630-212-3294.
Well, and we hope you all enjoyed Barbara giving us all these wonderful ideas.
I enjoyed it.
Put some of the ideas to work. I know I'm going home and going to start looking for the tree that's still in the basement that is going to fill in. I'm going to use the branches.
Yes,
I am going to do that. I am going to do that.
That's smart.
To fill all those bare spots in. But thank you all for joining us. We wish you all a very happy, healthy holiday season.
Yes.
We'll see you back here in 2015.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you.
And thank you, Barbara.
Thank you. I enjoyed this.
And remember, watch Inspired Design, and we'll see what she's going to do for us in January.
There you go.